Word. Today's daily word, it's a good one. Forgive. I'll read our affirmation and then invite you to affirm it with me. I begin my journey of forgiveness. Together, I begin my journey of forgiveness. Unforgiveness is a heavy bag of rocks I carry on my shoulders. When I drop the bag and begin to set the rocks aside one by one, I embark upon a healing journey. God is with and within me on this journey as my constant support and strength. When forgiveness feels difficult, I need only return my attention to Spirit's constant, loving, and accepting presence within me. Reestablishing my conscious connection brings warm and welcoming acceptance. It is an important step in the unburdening process of forgiveness. I forgive others as well as myself, knowing each act of forgiveness increases my freedom to live a happy and fulfilling life. This is from Colossians chapter 3, verse 13. Bear with one another, and if anyone has a complaint against another, forgive each other. Just as the Lord has forgiven you, so you also must forgive. And now a solo for Margot.
My faith will be made stronger. My faith will be made stronger. My faith will be made stronger. Stronger, stronger, stronger. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the water wherever you
Hey Felix, can you turn on in vMix the audio for my microphone so that it goes out to the live stream? Hi. There. Good morning. Good morning and welcome. Sometimes it feels like you're in deep water, doesn't it? I love that song, by the way, Margot. Thank you. Thank you, Russell. Thank you, Ronnie. You all are sublime to my soul. Because sometimes things just don't work out the way we planned them to work out. Whether it's the live stream, whether it's a relationship, whether it's finances, health insurance, the cost of gasoline. Sometimes things are a little bit uneasy. So someone asked me not too long ago, by the way, today's talk is entitled Unwavering Faith. So somewhere along the line, and not too long ago, someone asked me, how do I come up with my talks? And faith has a lot to do with it. Last week I was struggling, as I mentioned, and the talk just came Sunday morning and I had it. And then I also had the talk titles for the rest of the month, and it just kind of popped in there. And Unwavering Faith was the title. Now, the thing that happens, you may have experienced this in your past, but when you're focusing on something, when something comes up for you, everything that seems opposite starts to happen. Have you ever experienced that? Yeah, so it's like, okay, we've got this going, everything's going great, then all of a sudden, everything that's the opposite starts to occur. And the reason that is, I think, is because it's not that it's trying to prove you wrong or the universe is thwarting you. It's that when you're focused on something like faith, everything comes up to be healed by faith. Everything that seems like, it's completely off the charts starts to bubble up for us because it says, okay, you're ready. Here I am, heal me. And we go, about Ray, now you can connect the dots. Well, they had their ballet, end of the year ballet performance today of all the classes in the ballet company at Foothill College for Dance Connection, and they had a beautiful performance. So she was out there Friday nights, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, getting ready for this, the dress rehearsal, the performances. She had 5 dances, I think, this time around, and it's just beautiful. It's just a wonderful experience. So naturally, the thing that I'm going to do the day before, let me make sure, YouTube sound just went out. Yeah, well, I'm sorry, Ann. Anyway, so maybe you guys can figure that out. So naturally, last night, the night before my talk, I'm watching my favorite Japanese anime. No, nobody knows? Okay. If you look it up, it's what it's about is youth and volleyball. It's a wholesome anime, and of course, Ray will only watch it in Japanese with subtitles. So I have to get my glasses on. I really have to focus on it. So the three of us, Tiffany, my wife usually, and I, we're all watching it, and I have to really focus on it. And of course, it's volleyball and youth with a dose of metaphysics, thrown in there. Of course, they don't market that. I don't know why they don't market metaphysics as part of a Japanese anime, but there you go. And so that's what we were doing last night, is just kind of sinking in, relaxing, unwinding, and in the middle of that, knowing that faith is a part of the process. So what is faith? What do we call faith? I know some people talk about it, well, faith is really a belief. And I think that's a component of it. That's an intellectual component of faith. But it's not the whole of it, because I have plenty of beliefs that really are not true, and that take me in directions that, all of those stories that we tell, all of those rumors and gossip and things that we lather on, or all of the anger, as Lisa was talking about, the unforgiveness and the daily word, all of that unforgiveness, all of those stories that we're believing in at the moment, which aren't necessarily true, isn't a part of faith. Faith also isn't in unity, at least a noun, right? We don't describe our belief system as a faith, like many do. Instead, we use that term faith as an ability within us. It's a state of consciousness. It's a state of being where we are one with the allness of life, love, and wisdom. We're one with God, where we know that. And so faith for me is both an intellectual component of the knowingness, the brain things that go on inside my head, but it's also a heart's thing. It's also a sense of feeling of comfort and ease. It's a sense of feeling that oneness, that's that ineffable feeling of when you're one with Spirit. And it's using that idea, and when you're in that state of consciousness is when the law of mind action really kicks in. Though intentionally, the things that we give attention to when we're having an intention really become powerful for us. And that's how faith is how we bring that into manifestation. I like actually the Apostle Paul put it this way. He was a very intellectual person and had a lot of brain things going on in his head, I presume. But he said that faith is the assurance of things unseen, the substance, the assurance of taking hold of substance. And substance is that divine essence that's out there that we create out of. To really be in it. And the key here is being faithful, having that power of faith, that consciousness of faith in spirit. So I want to change the word there. I don't have faith in spirit, because that makes me feel or think that Spirit's out there somewhere doing something, but Spirit within me. So I have faith as Spirit. As that energy that's in me. I have faith as Spirit. And then that's really the key of what faith is. Now, I was reading Emily Cady, Lessons in Truth. This is my great aunt Ray's book from 1934, where she defines faith as, she talks about faith is the substance of things hoped for and evidence of things not seen. In other words, faith takes right hold of the substance, of the desired, of the things desired, and brings into the world evidence of things which before were unseen. Takes right hold of it. As the master teacher Jesus once said, seek first the kingdom of God. Seek first, take hold of God. Take hold of Spirit. Really, have that feeling of, yes, this is it. It's as opposed to it being out there in an intellectual process, it's really embodying it, embodying that idea, really taking hold of it. So if you can sense that difference there, I was reading Emerson this week as well in one of the first essays. He talks about this idea of faith comes in moments where our vice is habitual. Right? So faith is beyond those habitual patterns that we have. Faith is beyond those habitual beliefs that we might have. Those habitual beliefs of, I'm not good enough, I'm not strong enough, I'm not, ... I'm not good. Those beliefs in, shame, blame, and guilt that we do to ourselves when we don't do our 5-minute meditation. We can only manage 3. Right? All of those things cloud our ability to take hold of Spirit. They keep us, we keep ourselves separate from it by all of these thoughts and beliefs. Emerson goes on to say, ineffable is the union of man and God and every act of the soul. The influx of this better and universal self is new. It inspires, awes, and astonishes. It inspires awe and astonishment. So how do I know when I am using faith? How do I know when I'm taking hold of Spirit? Because the idea here is that the things that we are desiring in life are there for us. You are here to live a joyful and abundant life. That's why you're here. That's part of it. And yet, sometimes we look at it and say, well, how do I know that this is not ego? How do I know that, I'm not, being selfish here? How do I know the difference? I think the difference is that ineffable feeling, that feeling that you have inside of yourself, and knowing, is this fear isn't the problem. Fear is not, because all fear does is it tells us, hey, here are a couple areas in which you can grow. So fear is a great pointer of the way, but what gets in our way is the blame, shame, and guilt that we layer on top of the fear, the story that we layer on top of the fear. So when we feel the fear, that's the message to say, okay, let's go in this direction and see what I can learn, and see how I can grow, and see what I can become. As we move in this fashion, as we begin to really anchor ourselves in this faith, it becomes more of a state of being as we're moving around the world. The things may come up that frustrate us, and they will, because, this is a wonderful human experience that we're having. So that human experience bubbles up. Sometimes, the frustrations, the anger, the fears, that comes up. Sometimes people do things that you don't want them to do. Or you do things that you don't want to do. That's just the human experience. But faith can help us move through those experiences when we go back to taking hold of Spirit. Go back to, just as Lisa talked about, just a few moments of recentering and taking hold of that divine energy. So it begins, I think, with willingness. That in that situation, what I found is that in that situation, am I willing to let go? Am I willing to forgive? Am I willing to listen? I think faith comes through our intuition. They talk about this, that still small voice. Faith comes through in our intuition. And we get great ideas, and sometimes we're heading down those ideas, and, it's like, oh, it's not working. I'm bumping into things. So do I give up? Do I shift to apathy and say, to heck with it. I'm just going to go watch Haikyuu. I got through almost the whole season. There's one episode left. I'll tell you about that in a minute. Spoilers coming up, if anybody wants to go watch it. What was I saying? Stuff happens. That's right. Stuff happens. Stuff happens. And yet when we remember to take hold of Spirit, to take hold of that divine energy, take hold of that harmonic energy within you, take hold of that, despite what's happening on the outside. You know, you will get the message, it's time to turn left or turn right. When things get hard, the question is, I can keep moving forward, learning and listening. Where am I going to go? Which way do you want me to go, universe? If I try this way, does it feel better? If I try that way, is it helping me move towards my goals? Move towards living a more joyful and abundant life. I think that's really how we know, is we have to turn within and be willing to listen to really what's going on in our thoughts, and are we blame, shaming, and guilting people, or myself? Are we causing frustration? Am I doing it just because my ego says, I'm right, and this is the way we're going to do it? You may be right, and that may be the way you do it. And there may be different ways in which you can do it. Perhaps there's a new attitude that you want to bring to the situation. And I remember speaking to someone who's in high tech and leading a group of people and wanting, this is what we've got to do, and I've got to hold them accountable. And it's like, okay, well, what holds you accountable? Well, a different attitude. Yes, I know I have a deadline. Yes, I know I have my list. But the attitude in which we move through this, in which we communicate with each other, in which we live this, can be different. And it may or may not work out. There may still be a shifting to left or to right. So we have faith as Spirit, and we must have faith in ourselves, in that inner consciousness, in that divine spark, that part of you that we know is real, that ineffable experience with God. So we have a willingness to empty. We empty ourselves of all of the things that are blocking us up, that are preventing us, and we're allowing that good to flow. Allow it to be. It's an allowing, right? It's not a forcing. It's not a waiting impatiently. It's just an allowing. And keep moving in the direction that you feel that upliftment, even if it's hard and difficult. So I don't want to confuse us, right? Because sometimes it's hard and difficult, yeah? Sometimes there's things in our life that are very difficult. And in that, the less story we wrap around it, the easier we're able to move through it as that presence. And you have the skills to do that. If we're so focused on the past, we're not going to get anywhere. If we're so worried about the future, we're not going to get anywhere. But in this present moment, right here, right now, you have all the skills you need to move through whatever you're going through in this present moment. And in that present moment, you can really breathe into it and feel it and become one with that. Oh, take hold of that Spirit. Take hold of that divine essence of love. And even in the face of, I don't know that you're moving in the right direction. Has anyone seen the movie Shakespeare in Love? All right, yeah. So when did it come out? Was it 80s? A long time ago. So is that an old movie? Oh, dang it. Well, I always thought 70s were old movies. My son, of course, my 16-year-old will absolutely tell me it's an ancient movie and that I'm ancient, but that's beside the point. So in this old movie, I think it's Gwyneth Paltrow and John Fiennes, but my favorite character is Jeffrey Rush, who's owns the theater that Shakespeare's trying to put this play on. And he's trying to write. He doesn't have a script yet. It turns out to be Romeo and Juliet. He doesn't have the script yet, and he doesn't have the theater. And the whole time, the investors are coming after Jeffrey Rush saying, how are we going to put this on? We don't have a script. We don't have the theater's closed. How are we going to do it? they're like strangling him, and he's like, I don't know. It just all the thing about the theater is that it just all works out. How? I don't know. It's a mystery. And in that moment, the bells ring and someone yells, the theater's open. But that's what life is like. That's what faith is like. I don't know. It's a mystery how it's going to go. And if I can let go of my intellect trying to define every single step and allow that intuition to flow, then I can keep moving in the direction that I'm supposed to go and then document it and tell everybody, see how smart I was? It can work both ways, I'm telling you. So it's a matter of really taking hold of that. So there's faith as spirit, there's faith in me, and then there's faith as a community. Because we're all in a community. We all have community, whether it's your family, your inner circle, your work buddies, your the people you see in the grocery store. That's your community, the people that you connect with and have an interaction with. So if you have faith in yourself, if you have faith as spirit, then you can be in that community and express that faith. I say this because a lot of people have this a concern about trust. How can I trust someone else? You know, I'll love you if you meet all these conditions. And you never do any of these things. And I trust you to know the difference. Of course, I'm not bound by that rule because I'm me. But how many times have we, crossed the line or stubbed our toe? And when times are great, don't worry about it. It's no big deal. But the trust drops down a little bit because we're holding them accountable to a set of rules. So instead of holding them accountable to a set of rules, only do one thing. Seek first that kingdom of God. Take hold of Spirit. Know that faith is in you. Know that that divine essence is within you. So have faith in that divine essence within you. And whatever happens around you, you know you have the tools for forgiveness. You know you have the tools to move through it as that grounded in that faith of knowing you can take hold of substance and bring to it that voice of confidence, that voice of understanding, of connection, of willingness. There's one trust that I have, and that's trust in that divine essence. I trust human beings to be human beings because we're all human beings every once in a while. So I'm not surprised when somebody, hits one of my do not do's. And the more I'm not surprised by it, the easier it is like, oh, look, there it is. It's another opportunity for me to heal. Because I have faith in me. I have faith in my ability to take hold of Spirit, to be in it, and to shift my consciousness so that I can show up differently, so that I can bring that peace to the world, so that I can bring that sense of harmony to the world, in whatever situation it is. So, at the end of, spoiler alert, at the end of High Q, there's one kid on the volleyball team who isn't a starter. Is a first year, isn't a starter. And at the very critical point, so close your ears if you don't want to know the end of the story. But the very critical point of this volleyball tournament against their arch rivals, it was tied one match apiece, and this was the final tiebreaker match, and they'd already gone up to 30 points. It was tied at 30, which is like 5 points beyond what volleyball is supposed to go to. So, and our heroes, Carosona High School, you know them, they were down and they had to score a point. No, it was tied, but the team was struggling. They had lost faith. You could see in their eyes. They were weary after 3 games. And so what the coach does is he takes out the server and puts in a pinch server. I don't know if that's the right term. He just comes in, and this kid has never played. in a match. He's practiced with them. And he gets up there and he hits the ball, and guess what? Anybody want to guess? No! It hit the net and it fell down. They lost the point. And he felt, can you imagine? Miserable the first at bat. Oh, sorry, I'm mixing metaphors. The first time up to serve, and he blows it. And the team is like, you know what? It's all right. That gelled the team together. That missed point. The kid walked off dejected, and the team came back, scored the next point, and then lost. They lost the match. Now, I didn't get to see the last episode in the season. That was the second to last episode of the season because my child was tired. They went to sleep, and I'm not allowed to watch anime without them. So I went to my room, I got on my computer, and I watched the last episode. But, yeah, I'm not going to let them tell me what to do. But anyway, but here's what I came out of, because I knew there had to be something in there. I had faith that there had to be something in there for this talk, this idea of faith. And there was this scene with this one kid who had never played in a match, had his one chance and blew it. And it's like the team leader, hey, next time just make it over the net. That was it. So he's out there with his dad outside in their courtyard at home, dejected, sitting down, saying, I want to do better. I want to play more. It's so hard. I'm working so hard. And his dad, who played volleyball for the same team, who had the coach, I don't know. So anyway, he basically said to him, because he was in the same situation back then, he said to him about his experience, practices were tough, and many times he thought about quitting. So how many times have you thought about quitting something, a goal, a task, a project? How many times have you thought about quitting? He thought about quitting, and then he said to himself, the first time I managed to serve an ace at a match, that's a serve that scores, I thought, man, how many hours did I practice for this one shot? This one shot. If I can savor this one shot, this moment, I can survive those tough practices. One shot, one moment. If you can savor this one moment, chemicals to drain out of you, do your forgiveness work, take your walk, take your run, get back into balance, and then in that moment, take hold of Spirit. Find that one thing that can really lift you up. Because in every moment of your day, every moment, there's one thing, if you look for it, that you can find, that you can savor in that one moment. That one thing that you can say, okay, I'm taking hold of Spirit. I'm taking hold of this experience and this ineffable feeling of oneness is going to carry me through all of the tough times. To me, that is true faith. I'm going to put our affirmation on the screen. It's pretty straightforward. I'll read it once and then invite you to affirm it with me. With unwavering faith in God, I create my life anew. Together, with unwavering faith in God, I create my life anew. Just breathe into that. With unwavering faith. And when we find that our faith is placed somewhere else or misplaced, it's just going back to it without any blame, shame, or guilt. It's just going back to it. In that conscious moment, I can have unwavering faith. When I'm in my habitual belief system, right, there might be a window in there somewhere. until I make that faith habitual. So without any blame, shame, or guilt, just make that the goal, unwavering faith. And in that moment, have unwavering faith. Take hold of Spirit and savor life. Let's take that idea into our time of meditation and affirmative prayer. I invite you to take a nice, deep, cleansing breath. To close your eyes if that feels comfortable, or simply soften your gaze. With each breath, we allow ourselves to relax. Letting go, emptying ourselves of all of the stones that we're carrying around, all of the baggage, all of the concerns. I invite you to feel yourself grounded in the earth. Wiggle your toes. Feel the earth beneath you. Allow that gravity to drain any stress or strain out of your body. With the open hands and an open heart, we breathe into this present moment. Breathing into this moment from a sense of allness. Knowing that there is no lack, we affirm abundance in all things. Breathing into this present moment, we affirm, I have unwavering faith. And with that unwavering faith, with that open and empty heart, we fill it with divine love. The harmonizing energy of Spirit moves in, through, and as you now. That ineffable feeling and experience of oneness becomes your consciousness. Faith as Spirit is the energy moving through you now. Breathe into this present moment and savor this experience. In the stillness of the silence. In this experience of oneness, in this experience of faith as Spirit, we affirm with unwavering faith in God, I create my life anew. We affirm, I am one with the infinite flow of life, love, and wisdom. I listen and move through intuition, through intelligence, through faith. Knowing each step along my path is guided. expressing that energy of divine love, we turn our attention to all of our prayer requests. If you hold somebody in prayer, I invite you to bring their name to mind or say their name out loud now. For each prayer request, for each person, we affirm that divine love is doing its perfect work in every situation. We see each person discovering that spiritual magnificence and discovering that energy of faith, that power of faith within them to take hold and shape substance, to savor that ineffable experience of spirit in this moment. We say the same prayer for all of our world, national, state, and local leaders, seeing them making wise and loving decisions for peace on earth, goodwill, equality, and justice for all people. And for this time together, as we come together in community, we celebrate by singing the Alleluia. Cleansing breath, we return our attention to this time and this space, allowing ourselves to take hold and feel that moment and live that moment throughout this day. There's so many ways in which you can support this spiritual community as we move into our time of living in the flow of abundance. I invite you to decide how you can support our spiritual community, but however you do it with love. If you're here in the sanctuary and you'd like to make a donation, there's a silver box in the back of the sanctuary that says Love Offering. You can slip your donation in there. The affirmation that we say is on the screen, and I invite you to affirm it with me. Together, divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I give, all that I receive, and all that I am. And so it is.
Be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Come on, you can sing this with me. Oh yes, I can make it now. The pain is gone. All of the bad feelings have disappeared. Here is that rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Look all around, there's nothing but blue skies. Look straight ahead, nothing but blue skies. I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. Come on, sing it with me. I can see all obstacles in my way. Here is that rainbow praying for. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Yeah, it's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Oh yeah, it's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. That's right.
Woo! If that doesn't fill your cup, people, I don't know. I just don't know what to tell you, okay? If that doesn't fill your cup. That's worth $6 a gallon, don't you think? That's what they ought to be selling. All right, if you can't tell, we are a welcoming and vibrant community with many opportunities for spiritual growth, sacred service, and celebrating our community. We want to tell you about a couple that are coming up on June 19th, beginning with a workshop led by Reverend Sheila Gautreaux. It's going to be called Healing the Pain of the Pandemic, From Despair to Hope. It is described as a spiritual process for moving through our emotional trauma to the awakening of hope and experience of the power and presence of God. So that will be after the service on June 19th from 12:30 to 4:30. Actually, I don't know if she's Dr. Reverend Sheila is also going to be leading our service that day on June 19th. Get this, people. Bring your glasses, okay? Because she's going to teach us how to use spiritual power tools. Okay, so you might need some eye protection for this. I don't know, what are the safety goggles for spiritual power tools? Apparently they are how to maintain a new paradigm of peace, love, and joy, and an upwardly progressive movement of spirit in your life and in the world. Who doesn't need that right now? So please join us on June 19th for that. For more on these and other opportunities, please check us out at unitypaloalto.org. And check out all of our social media channels. Of course, we're connected. I don't think we're on TikTok just yet, but I don't know, maybe after today, maybe after John's talk today. Okay, for people that are here in the sanctuary, we are going to save our hugs for out in the courtyard. If you are joining us online, please give us a virtual hug right now. Pop over to the chat, say hello, put your hand on your heart, send out some positive vibes to everybody. We're really great that you're here and that you're connecting with us. If this is your first time or if you're back from a long absence, if you're online, pop over to the chat again, introduce yourself, let us know that you're new so that we can greet you online. If you are here in the sanctuary and you are new or back from a long absence, be brave. This is the time to be brave. You don't have to stand up, just raise your hand. Is anyone new here today who would like to identify themselves? Okay, not new today? All right. Or maybe you're just shy. Maybe next time. We invite, regardless of where you are, we invite you to fill out our connection card. If you're here in the sanctuary, there's one in the pew in front of you, and you can fill that out and stick it in the box in the back. If you're joining us online and you're new, please go to unitypaloalto.org/live. Scroll down a little bit. You'll see a little box that says connection. Click on that, and we'll get connected with you electronically. So happy Sunday, everybody. This is the 4th Sunday of the month when we get to bless each other. So I'd like to invite you to stand up if you're able. The affirmation that we say is on the screen. Hands up, everybody. Hands up. Get the positive vibes going. Together, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the Christ consciousness expressing as you. And now our peace song led by Margot.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let
So just a quick announcement for you. I want you to know that Reverend Sheila is a dear friend of mine. She was in 2 years before me in our ministerial program together, and she teaches. Her workshops are amazing. So if you have the time, you'll want to take a look at that. Also, I want you to let you know to save the date for June 12th, the Sunday just prior, because we're going to have a guest speaker with me, the two of us together. You may remember her as the good Reverend Karen Bradley will be here. And she and I are going to have a little powwow here on stage. And it's a time where we're going to be talk about our new learning center, which was also known as the front office, that we're going to be dedicating the learning center. So mark your calendars for June 12th for that. And now, our prayer for protection. Together, the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Love and blessings, everyone. Have a wonderful week. See you soon.
I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Oh, it's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day.